At Christmas, I came bearing gifts for everyone. The room went silent when I walked in. My cousin whispered, "Why is he even here?" I tried to sit at the main table, and my brother looked at me and said, "What are you doing? That seat's for actual family. Go eat in the garage." My mom didn't even blink. My uncle raised his glass and mocked, "Look who's trying to buy his way back in." My little nephew took the gift I brought and threw it on the floor. I got up silent, smiling. What I did next made sure that was the last Christmas they'd ever celebrate under that roof. Now they're begging, "Please, we were just joking." Hey everyone, before we dive in, I have a quick favor to ask. If you enjoy content like this, please hit the subscribe button. It's free, supports the channel, and ensures you never miss out on amazing videos. Alright, let's get started. So this is kind of eating at me, and I'm still pissed. So sorry if this is a mess. I'm just gonna throw it out here and see if anyone else has ever had family treat them like this. Because IDK if I'm just overreacting or what, but honestly, I don't think so. If you think I am, then fine. But at least hear me out. First off, I knew Christmas was going to be weird this year. The group chat they use for planning, that I'm barely in, to Baha, because it's just endless drama and memes I don't even get, had suddenly switched the plans from dinner at Marion's, my aunt, to the family house, and nobody really said why. My brother Robert just said something about makes more sense less driving, and everyone was like, sure. But IDK, it was weird. Probably should have clued me in that something was up, but I was busy and just assumed whatever. So background, I moved out of town a few years ago. Not even far, but I got my own thing going. And ever since then, the family's been kind of salty. I'm not rich or anything, but I do fine. And yeah, I don't show up to every birthday or whatever, but I still try. Bring stuff, check in, call mom every week, that kind of thing. But my brother and cousin Kurt are always making little digs about how I forgot where I came from, or how I think I'm better than everyone. Which is hilarious, because I literally just live in a small apartment with ugly carpet. I'm not flying private or something. Anyway, this year, I decided I was going to go all out. Like actually put thought into the gifts, get everyone something decent. Not just the usual socks or whatever, but stuff they might actually use. I even wrapped everything myself, which NGL looked kind of tragic, but at least I tried. I wanted to show them I was still part of the family. You know, dumb maybe, but whatever. So I get to the house. It's snowing. My phone is blowing up with "Are you close?" texts from mom, and I'm honestly thinking maybe this year will be different. I walk up, arms full of bags, and the first thing I notice is how dead quiet it is inside. Like usually there's music or the TV, or at least my Uncle Douglas yelling at the dog. But when I walk in, just silence. I see everyone in the living room, and they all turn to look at me, and it's just off. I'm like, "Hey, Merry Christmas." And Kurt, my cousin, is standing next to the tree with a drink, and he kind of nudges my brother and says, "Not even quiet, like why is he even here?" I hear him, he knows I hear, and he just stares at me. Nobody says anything. My mom just kind of looks at me like I tracked in mud. So I stand there holding the gifts and try to play it cool. I'm like, "I brought stuff. I'll put them under the tree." And Robert, my brother, older by 2 years, and acts like he's king of the house since dad died, just shrugs and walks away. I ask where I should put my coat, and he just points at a chair. Doesn't even look at me. So I go to sit at the dining table, because that's what we always do. And there's an extra chair at the end. So I figure whatever, I'll just take that. I start putting my stuff down, and Robert walks over all loud and goes, "What are you doing? That seat's for actual family. You can go eat in the garage." I'm not even exaggerating. He said it just like that with this stupid smirk. I kind of laugh it off because I think he's joking, but then nobody else laughs. Kurt just looks at his phone. Marion is acting like she didn't hear, and my mom just adjusts her glasses and starts fussing with the napkin. I look at her, waiting for her to say something, but she just ignores it. Not even a twitch. So now I'm just standing there holding this plate. And my nephew, Robert's kid, Everly, he's like 6, comes up, grabs the gift I brought. It was some Hot Wheels stuff, nothing crazy but decent, looks me dead in the eye, and just chucks it on the floor, like on purpose. Not even trying to hide it. Then he stomps off. No one says a word. I hear Robert mutter something about how I'm trying too hard. Then Uncle Douglas, he's always been a pain, thinks he's hilarious, raises his glass and goes, "Look who's trying to buy his way back in." Classic Dylan, right? And everyone kind of laughs. Not really hard, but enough that it stings. It's so awkward. I look at my mom again, hoping for backup, and she just sighs and goes, "Dylan, can you not make a scene today? Like I'm the problem. Like I'm the one being difficult." I don't even know what to do at this point. I'm just standing there and I can feel my face getting hot, but I'm not about to give them the satisfaction. So I pick up the gift off the floor, set it back under the tree, and I just say, "Merry Christmas, I guess." Then I walk out to the garage like they said, because honestly, I don't want to sit at that table anymore anyway. The garage is freezing. They didn't even bother to clear a spot, so I'm just sitting on a folding chair, next to a pile of old winter tires and a broken treadmill. I can hear them laughing inside. At one point, I hear Kurt say something about how I'll probably start crying and run back to my fancy apartment. I'm just scrolling on my phone, trying to ignore it, but it's impossible. After like 10 minutes, my mom comes out, doesn't even look at me. Just drops a plate on the workbench and says, "You should eat before it gets cold." Then she goes back inside and slams the door. I sit there and stare at the wall for a bit. I try to eat, but honestly, I'm not even hungry anymore. I just keep thinking, is this really happening? Like, am I really out here in the garage on Christmas while my so-called family is inside acting like I'm some leper? I know people are going to say I should just leave, and yeah, maybe I should have, but honestly, I was too angry to even move. I started thinking about all the times they've pulled crap like this. Like after Dad died, when Robert and Kurt started acting like the house was theirs, even though I technically own part of it too. Or how every time I try to be involved, they act like I'm only there for money, or that I think I'm too good for them. It's always something, never just, hey, glad you came. So I sat there for a while, just letting it all stew. At one point I heard them start opening gifts, and I could hear Everly whining about how he didn't like the Hot Wheels set, and Robert telling him not to worry, Santa will get him something better next year. I just laughed, because honestly, screw it. I'm done trying. After like an hour, I picked up my stuff, walked back inside, and nobody even looked up. I put on my coat, left the rest of the gifts under the tree, and just walked out. As I was leaving, Uncle Douglas called after me, "Don't let the door hit you." And I just kept walking. I sat in my car for a bit, just scrolling through messages, and I started thinking about how tired I am of this. Like I'm not a kid anymore. I don't have to take this. And then it hit me. They're so comfortable treating me like crap because they think I'll just keep taking it. But I don't have to. I actually have options. So yeah, I'm not going to just sit around and let them walk all over me. I'm done being the nice guy. They want to treat me like I'm not family? Fine. Let's see how they like it when I treat them the same. I've got a few ideas. And if you think I'm being petty, IDC, sometimes you gotta hit back. I'll update if anyone cares. Trust me, this isn't the end of it. Update 1. So yeah, this is where it really starts getting ugly. And I know some people said in the comments last time, just let it go, move on, whatever. But if you saw the way my family acted, you'd probably be plotting too. I'm just glad people are reading this because otherwise I'd feel even more insane than I already do. Anyway, here's how it went down after that disaster of a Christmas. Woke up the next morning in my apartment, totally not rested. Phone blowing up from a group chat. But it's all just dumb memes and happy holidays from people I barely know. Nothing from family. Not a single message. Not even a passive-aggressive, "Hope you got home safe." I just stare at the screen for a while, trying to figure out if I should text anyone first, but I really don't want to. I end up just scrolling TikTok for like an hour straight, totally zoning out. I think about calling Mom, decide not to bother. What gets me is when I finally do text Mom, just a simple, "Hey, did you want me to bring anything back for New Year's?" She just goes, "I think we're keeping it simple this year. Probably just family." Like I'm not family. I just sit there reading it over and over, not even knowing what to say. So I text Robert and ask if he wants to talk. He leaves me on read. Classic. I start thinking about all the times they've done this. Not just the passive stuff, but real stuff. Like after Dad died, when Robert and Kurt basically took over the house and started making decisions like it was theirs. But the thing is, I literally own a third of that house. Dad left it to us equally, but since I moved out and they never did, they just acted like it was theirs by default. I still pay my part of the property tax every year. I chip in for big repairs. But it's always like, well, Dylan's not really around. Dylan doesn't get a say. They even put up a family photo wall, and I'm not even in half of it anymore. I only noticed because I dropped by a couple months ago and saw these big empty spots where my pics used to be. So yeah, I'm sitting in my tiny apartment thinking, why am I letting them walk all over me? Why am I paying for a house I basically get kicked out of every time I visit? I start doing the math. I check the most recent property tax bill and see my name on it. Right there with Robert and Mom. I find the insurance info in my email. I'm stupid for not looking at all this sooner. I text Mom again, this time more direct. "Are you guys planning to buy me out of the house or what?" She just replies, "Not this again," and then leaves it at that. I text Robert, get nothing. I try calling, goes to voicemail. I try the group chat and say, "Can we talk about dividing the house?" Kurt just posts a meme about moochers, not even subtle. And Robert says, "Stop making drama, go back to your city life." Fine, I'm done talking. I Google how to sell a share of a house. It's not simple, but it's also not impossible. I could force a sale if I really wanted. I'm not going to get into legal stuff here, but basically I have options, and they know it. I start talking to a friend of a friend who does real estate stuff. Not some fancy expert, just a guy who helped my neighbor sell his place last year. And he tells me that, yeah, technically I could sell my share. Not easy, but possible. Or I could push for a buyout. I ask him if he knows anyone who'd even want a third of a house with 2 angry people in it. And he just laughs. Says there are investors who buy all kinds of weird situations. That's all I need to hear. So I get all the paperwork together, the tax bills, the deed, the emails, and I send a group email to Mom, Robert, and Kurt. I say, either you buy me out for fair market value by the end of March, or I'm putting my share up for sale. I attach a breakdown of what the house is, what I've paid in taxes, what a third would cost if they want to keep it. I make it clear I'm not bluffing. Robert calls me. Finally. He's pissed. He says I'm being ridiculous, that nobody wants to buy my stupid share, that I'm just doing this to make him look bad. I tell him I'm tired of being treated like a stranger in my own family's house, and if he doesn't like it, tough. He hangs up on me. Unreal. I get a call from Mom an hour later and now she's crying. She says I'm tearing the family apart, that Dad would be disappointed. All the stuff you'd expect. I sit there and listen for a bit. Then I ask her, point blank, why do you let them treat me like this? She doesn't answer. Just starts talking about how hard things have been since Dad died. I get it. I really do. But I'm not a punching bag. After that call, I just mute the family chat for the first time ever. The next few days are just a blur of passive-aggressive texts. Kurt posts something about snakes in the grass and then deletes it. Marion, my aunt, calls and tries to guilt-trip me like, don't you know your mom's health isn't great? I say, maybe you should talk to Robert and Kurt about how they treat people before blaming me. She slams the phone down. At this point, I start getting messages from random cousins I barely talk to. One of them is like, is it true you're selling the house? I tell him, yeah, unless they buy me out. He says, good luck, they'll never go for it. And I'm like, watch me. I'm not bluffing. The best part is once I sent that official email, suddenly everyone's acting nicer, but only to each other, not to me. Mom's posting all these throwback pics on Facebook like happy family memories, but I'm not in any of them. Robert posts a passive-aggressive story about family always comes first. I just laugh. I post nothing. I'm just waiting. One night, Robert actually shows up at my place. I hear him banging on the door, yelling for me to open up. I open the door. He tries to shove past me, so I block him. He says, you can't do this. You'll ruin everything. I tell him, you should have thought of that before you told me to eat in the garage. He slaps the wall hard. I tell him if he does that again, I'm calling someone. He storms out, slams the door. Next day, I get an email from a random Gmail account like, interested in buying your share of the house. I know it's one of them, probably Kurt or Robert, trying to scare me. I ignore it. I email back and say, if you're serious, talk to my agent. I CC the real estate guy just to make it real. The mood in the group chat is dead now. Nobody's posting memes. Nobody's tagging me in anything. Mom sends a voice note saying, please don't do this. Think about your nephew. Think about the family. I don't even reply. I'm not doing this for attention. I'm doing it because I'm tired of being the family punching bag. So now it's mid-January and I've got all my documents lined up. My agent says he's got a couple people who might be interested, but honestly, I don't even care if it takes a while. I just want them to know that I'm serious. No more free rides. No more being treated like I'm not even there. Last thing I heard from a neighbor, not even my friend, just someone who used to babysit us back in the day, they saw a for sale sign in the garage when they walked by. Guess Robert's trying to scare me into backing off. I text him and say, nice try, but I'm not scared. I'm not backing down. Not this time. Next step is actually getting offers. And if they thought Christmas was awkward, wait till they see what happens when a bunch of strangers start poking around their precious house. If you've read this far, you get it. I'm not letting up. This is only getting started. We'll update soon. Update 2, so yeah, didn't think I'd post again this fast, but things got real quick. Honestly, it's almost funny how fast people change their tune once money is on the line. IDK if anyone actually thought I'd go through with it, but now that I'm actually making moves, everyone's acting like I'm the villain. Lol. Whatever. I said I wouldn't just walk away, and I meant it. So the weirdness started up right after that last email I sent, the one with the buyout deadline and all the numbers. Suddenly, every day I'm getting these random calls. Some block numbers, some just hang up right away. One person actually left a voicemail pretending to be interested in a third of a house, like come on. At least try to sound convincing. I know it's Kurt or one of his buddies trying to mess with me, but I don't even answer. I'm not stupid. What really caught me off guard was seeing Mom's Facebook. She's never been huge on social media, but now she's posting these old family pics, like throwbacks from when we were all kids at the house, with captions like, so grateful for my family. We stick together through everything. Robert's commenting hearts and couldn't ask for better family, and I'm just not tagged in any of it. It's all for show, but NGL it stings a bit, whatever. By the second week of January, the group chat is a total ghost town. Nobody's posting memes, no football talk, nothing, just silent. Then one night I get a call from Kurt. He's clearly been drinking, rambling about how I'm tearing apart the one thing Dad cared about, and how I should just take the high road and drop it. I tell him I'll talk when he's sober and hang up. He texts me a wall of angry messages anyway. I just mute him. Meanwhile, my agent is actually getting somewhere. It's not like there's a line out the door or anything, but there are people who will buy weird shares of family houses, especially if the location's decent. I tell him to go ahead and schedule viewings just to shake things up. He says okay, but warns me it might get ugly. I'm like, that's the idea. Then out of nowhere, Mom calls me crying again. She's saying stuff like, how can you do this? What about Everly, my nephew? What am I supposed to tell him? I say, maybe you should tell Everly not to throw gifts on the floor next time. She just goes silent, then asks if I'm really going to kick my own family out of their home. I tell her I'm not kicking anyone out. They can buy my share if they want to stay. She hangs up without saying bye. Next day, I get a text from Robert. Finally, not just a wall of insults. He says they talked to someone about buying me out, but the number I gave was insane, and they could never come up with that kind of money. I tell him it's literally just what the place is worth, divided by 3. And if he thinks I'm going to give him a discount after the way they treated me, he's lost it. He says, maybe I'll just make your life hell if you try to sell. I say, go ahead, but if you mess with any of the buyers, I'll make sure everyone knows about it. He blocks me. So now I'm getting calls from the insurance company because apparently Robert tried to have my name taken off the policy without telling me. I call them back and say, I'm still an owner, don't change anything without my signature. The lady on the phone just sounds tired, like she's had a long day of dealing with family drama. But she says okay. I also call the property tax office and tell them I'm not paying another cent until my interest is respected. They say okay, but warn me if the bill goes unpaid, the whole property gets a lien. I say that's not my problem. CC my family on the email. With all this going on, the family starts fighting with each other. Marion, my aunt, texts me out of nowhere, says I'm breaking Mom's heart and I should be ashamed. I tell her, talk to Robert and Kurt if you want someone to blame. She starts yelling. I hang up. Kurt texts me a long rant about how I'm acting like a corporate vulture and how I used to be one of them. I just reply with a thumbs up. He calls me a coward. I don't answer. The best part is, once the agent schedules a viewing, all hell breaks loose. Apparently, the first time someone shows up to look at the place, Robert tries to block them from coming in. He actually shoves the guy at the door and starts yelling that the house isn't for sale, that it's a family home, blah blah. The agent calls me after and says, this is going to be rough if they keep acting like this. I tell him, keep going. And if Robert tries that again, document it. Mom texts me later that night, says the neighbors are starting to ask questions like, why are strangers coming around? Is the house in trouble? That kind of thing. She's embarrassed. Says, I'm making the whole family look bad. I tell her, maybe you should talk to your other son about that. Meanwhile, Robert tries to get into my apartment again. This time he just pounds on the door, yelling to let him in. I open the door a crack. He tries to push past me. I shove him back. He swings at me, misses, hits the door, then storms off down the hall yelling. I just lock the door and text him, nice try. He doesn't answer. At this point, I stop paying the utilities on the house too. I call and have my name removed from everything I can. Gas, water, Wi-Fi. I get a call from Mom a couple days later saying the Wi-Fi is down and they can't get it fixed. I tell her I'm not paying for it anymore. Good luck. She slams the phone down. I start to hear through a cousin that Robert and Kurt are fighting almost every day now. Apparently Robert wants to buy me out, but Kurt says they should just wait me out and I'll give up. Meanwhile, the house is falling apart. The kitchen sink leaks, the garage door won't close all the way, and now they have to pay the tax bill on their own for the first time in years. I just sit back and watch the group chat fall apart. Nobody's talking. Even Mom isn't posting her weird Facebook updates anymore. The last straw for them is when my agent brings another buyer. This time someone serious, not just looks. Robert tries to block him at the door again, but this guy just laughs and says, go ahead, I'll call the cops if you try anything. Mom starts crying in the hallway. Kurt slams the door. Everly starts screaming about the Wi-Fi. I just get a text from the agent later. Says he thinks the buyer's still interested. I tell him, good, keep them coming. So now the whole family is melting down. Robert sends me one last text, says you win. Just tell us what you want. I say, pay me my share at market value or the house goes up for sale. He doesn't reply. I know some people will say I'm being brutal, but honestly, they had every chance to treat me like a human being. I gave them more warnings than I should have. Now they're getting what they deserve. And I'm not done yet. If you've made it this far, you know I'm not the kind of guy to just walk away. Next step is final offers, and then, well, whatever happens, happens. I'll keep you posted. Final update. So yeah, I'm back. This is going to be the last update because honestly, I don't even want to give them more space in my head, but a bunch of people have been asking what happened. I guess I never thought it would actually go this far, but whatever. Here we are. Turns out, if you push someone out long enough, eventually they'll push back harder. So basically, after that last mess with the buyers and the agent, everything at the house kind of stalled. I started getting these weird texts from Robert like, let's just talk about it in person. Or, you don't have to go nuclear. I ignored them for a few days just to see if they'd actually do anything, but obviously nothing changed. It was all just stalling. I kept forwarding stuff to my agent, told him, keep bringing people by. He said sure, but warned me, honestly the family vibe is scaring off most buyers. I laughed and told him, just need one to stick, and T-Baw, I knew it was only a matter of time before the pressure cracked them. Then one afternoon I get a call from Mom crying again, but this time it's different. She's not even doing the guilt thing, just desperate. She says, we can't afford this, Dylan. She tells me the tax bill came. It's more than she expected. She doesn't know what to do. The kitchen's leaking again. Everly's been sick, and she's tired. Like actually tired, not the fake Facebook tired. I just let her talk. When she asks if I'll reconsider, I just say, you know what you need? She hangs up, doesn't slam the phone this time. Next day, I start getting texts from random cousins again, but now they're asking if the house is really for sale, like maybe they could put in an offer. I tell them, sure, if they can match the market price. Nobody can, obviously. Robert tries to call me 5 times in a row. I finally pick up, and he's just raging. He says I'm ruining everything, making them look like idiots, that I should be ashamed. I tell him I'm not the one who told my own brother to eat in the garage. He calls me a prick and hangs up. The real shift happens a week later. My agent says he's got a real offer. Not the first guy, but someone else who's actually interested in buying out my share and negotiating with the rest of the family for the rest of the house. I tell him, do it. He tells me, okay, but your family's going to freak out. I say, they're already freaking out. Let's go. I get a group text from Kurt. All caps. Don't do this. Let's talk. We'll figure it out. I ignore. Marion calls me and leaves a voicemail, just her screaming about how I'm breaking up the family. I play it on speaker just to hear the dog barking in the background, then delete it. Then the real estate process starts for real. I sign the paperwork. Agent handles the rest. I show up to the house with the agent and a buyer on a Saturday morning. Robert tries to block the door, starts yelling. I just stand there, arms crossed. Agent tells him, this is happening whether you like it or not. Kurt tries to push past me in the hallway. I just stand my ground. He shoulders me and walks off. Mom's in the kitchen crying. Everly's playing games on a phone in the living room, not even looking up. Nobody's talking. It's the weirdest I've ever felt in that house, and honestly, I don't care anymore. The buyer walks around, checks the garage, makes small talk about the neighborhood. I can hear Kurt and Robert in the next room arguing. Kurt slams a cabinet. Robert yells at Everly to get off the furniture. Mom just sits at the table. Won't look at me. Agent says, we're done here, and we leave. A few days later, the offer goes through. It's not as much as I hoped, but it's fair. I accept. Agent calls and says, congrats, you're out. I tell him thanks. Send the check. I get the money a week later. Group chat is dead. Not even a text from Mom. Heard from a neighbor that the for sale sign went up for the whole house after that. Guess the buyer didn't want to share with Robert and Kurt. A couple of weeks later, I drive by just to see. Moving truck in the driveway. Boxes everywhere. Kurt's trying to shove a mattress through the door. Robert's yelling at him. Marion's car double parked. Everly's running around in the yard. Mom's just sitting on the porch watching. I don't stop. I just drive on by. Felt weird, but not sad. More like finally. Since then, I've gotten a couple emails from Mom. Mostly just please talk to us. Can we meet? Can we fix this? I haven't replied. Kurt sent me a text 2 nights ago. Just said, you happy now? I didn't answer. Robert hasn't said a single thing. Marion apparently told everyone I betrayed the family, which is hilarious because she's been trying to get Mom to move in with her for years. So yeah, that's it. No big healing moment. I got my share. They lost the house. Everyone's scattered. I heard Robert's renting a place with Kurt out in the suburbs. Mom's crashing at Marion's for now. I don't know what'll happen next Christmas, but I know I won't be there. If you're reading this thinking I went too far, maybe I did, but I'm not sorry. You can only slap a guy down so many times before he hits back. They're on their own now. I'm out. Thanks for reading. Hope your families are better than mine.